So we got the Coil on the Trek Slash. I decided to go the Marzocchi Bomber CR again, same coil that I put on the Transition Patrol. When I put it on the Patrol, it was, at first it felt okay, and then once I got used to it, it was pretty obvious to me that the high speed compression was too closed. It wasn't getting out of the way. Once I started picking up speed, the shock wasn't getting out of the way of the bumps. Spring rate was cool, everything else was good, but it just wasn't working. So I sent it off, got it changed, got the high speed circuit opened up a little bit, and it was much better. It was way more compliant. I could send it into stuff and I could dial that low speed on a little bit more, which was what I was looking for. Going to the Slash, we've got a different spring rate. I'm on a 425 where I was on a 500 on the Patrol, and that's because of the different ratios of the bike, leverage ratios of the bike, and the progression's a fair bit different on this one. This one's got high 20s. I'm not sure exactly the number, but I think it's around 27% progression on the Slash, so which is perfect for a coil. I think I used to think that maybe it was between 15 and 25 was the sweet spot for a coil, but I'm thinking now it's between 20 and 30% progression. So it works really well, but I've had enough time to ride it on a lot of different trails now and really get a sense of how it performs in different situations. And I truly believe that, once again, the high-speed compression just isn't open enough for this thing to sing without me having to run too little on the low-speed compression dial or the compression dial. So I'm running that compression dial at 2 clicks at the moment. 3 clicks feels better on certain trails, so I can carry a little bit more speed. It's a little bit more stout. It's a little bit more of a firm, controlled back end. But as you dial that low speed on, the high speed is just too wacky. It's just bang, bang. You've got no compliance. Any trails where there's kind of sharp bumps at relative speed, reasonable speed, it's just a little bit too wacky. So I'm going to pull that off and I'm going to send it back and get the same thing done to this as I did with the Patrol and see if my thoughts and my assumptions are correct again. So my spring rate is pretty well bang on. I've been back and forth with the 400 and this 425, and it seems like the 400 wound all the way on versus this. They're more or less the same, but this one just has a little bit more, I suppose you'd say it's ever so slightly more supple off the top. It's very, very minuscule, but that's a lighter spring, so I'm running the lighter spring, as in lighter with weight on the bike. So the Marzocchi Bomber, again, I think the compression tune is just a little bit too closed on the high-speed compression circuit. Not really specific to a bike, just this is the second one I've ridden so far, and it's the same story. It's the same, just a little too sharp on those high-speed hits. Otherwise, it's great. The rebound circuit feels okay. Maybe open up the high-speed rebound a little bit as well. You could probably open up that high-speed rebound a little bit as well, because I'm finding to get rid of the chop in that high speed, I'm having to run the low-speed rebound a little slower than I'd like as well. So maybe, how does that equate? Give you something to think about. So if I run the rebound I need to slow down the high-speed rebound a little bit. That's what I need. I don't want to open it up. I want to close the high-speed rebound a little bit. So maybe a little firmer on the high-speed rebound, so I can open that low-speed rebound up a little bit more and have it more playful without it being forceful coming out of the faster hit, coming out of the deeper end of its stroke. So your high-speed rebound is your beginning stroke rebound. It's the beginning of the rebound stroke where most force is coming out. I feel like I need to slow that down a little bit in order for me to be able to open up the low-speed rebound a touch to make the bike more playful. Otherwise, it's a little dead feeling. It is good. It is good like that, but it's just a little more dead than I'd like. I'd like it a little more playful. So I'm going to send it back and see if I can maybe get the rebound and the compression changed a touch. The guys at Cyclinic will definitely know how to go about that, and it should be good. But so far so good. With my old Marzocchi Bomber, one thing to mention is towards the end of its life, which was bugger all, it hadn't seen bugger all towards the end of its life, I mean, as it was getting towards me selling the Patrol, there's a base valve spring or something in here somewhere that had given way or broken. So it was like, it had like a little bit of a wall at the top of its travel. So I sent it back, they warranted it, they fixed it, no worries. So that's just one thing to think about with this bomber. It may not be super reliable long term, or I might have just had it might have just been a freak thing, but I think it's not uncommon for that to happen on the Fox van / Marzocchi Bomber shop. But even with that, I'm happy to persevere with it. I think for the price, it's ridiculous. It's so good. You get that's a $479 Australian money, $479 shop. Money in the bank for sure. It's consistent. It feels exactly the same every time I ride it. That's why I love the Coil. It's not so much for Coil's way better than air. I can get an air spring to feel more or less the same as a Coil. Tuning it right, getting the shape right. You're more versatile with an air spring for tuning, but you've got to be onto it. Hot days, it's going to feel different to the day before. If it was 20 yesterday and it's 28 today, it's going to feel way different with an air shot. Coil feels the same. You maybe open up the rebound a bit on a real cold day. So love the Coil, love the idea of it. The weight, that's only, I think it's less than 200 grams heavier than the stock through shaft Super Deluxe that the bike came with. So weight penalty's not really bugger all. Super light spring, cool. So the shock's killer, the shock's good. I just got to get it tuned to suit what I want. I just think that in general, that high speed compression's too firm. It needs to be opened up. So maybe in the future, when Fox builds the 2022 model, they can open that up a little bit more so the end user gets a better performance out the box. And more able to dial in some more low speed compression to control the bike. So yeah, overall love it. If you're thinking about it and your bike's suitable, give it a shot for sure. And keep those considerations in mind with the compression. Maybe ask for it out of the factory or wherever you're buying it from. Ask them to swap it over for you. But yeah, Marzocchi Bomber Coil, can't go wrong. Thank you.